Hey campers! How you guys and welcome back! I sound like a freaking pirate. Parrot. Welcome back to Camp Insomnia.
Oh my god.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
We're so chaotic. Oh yeah, welcome back to Camp Insomnia. We are a paranormal and
true crime podcast.
Hell yeah. My name is Zach. I'm your camp counselor.
And my name is Dolores, your other camp counselor. Oh my god, we didn't do this in the other episode.
Yeah, we didn't. I just realized that too. Ooh, yikes. So whoever listened to the last episode with Dolores, episode 21, sorry. Hopefully you're able to differentiate against our crazy voices.
Oh, completely. Yeah,
completely.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally
hard to figure that one out.
How do I sound like you?
Oh my God.
Definitely hard. So bad.
Okay, fine. How do I sound like you? Bitch, don't even.
Oh my god. Anyways, welcome back to Camp Campers. If you're new, that was an intro. You came in on a terrifying intro to come in on. And if you're new, coming back to camp, welcome back to the campfire. You know us by now. We're a bit crazy.
Just a little bit. I mean, especially
just a little bit.
Especially when we record so late, y'all just get raw, chaotic goodness.
Yeah, you get sleep deprived. You get the cuckoo-ness.
Oh,
the kookiness. What was the last word you said on the last episode? You said a certain word.
Unjoggle?
Yeah, unjoggled. Joggled? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I said.
Yeah, we're very joggled here. All right.
We need to unjoggle.
Yeah, we need to unjoggle. We need sleep to unjoggle. But yeah, welcome back, campers.
Wait.
Yeah.
We don't get sleep. It's camp.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's Camp Insomnia. Duh.
Oh,
That's so dumb. Oh god, I love it. Yeah, no sleep here at camp, y'all.
Oh, I love it.
If you see us close our eyes, we're not sleeping.
We're just
we're astral projecting or something, I guess.
Oh, big yikes.
Anyways, campers, I don't think I have any news today for you campers.
Nothing posted on the bulletin board, the camp bulletin board?
No, nothing really. My program I'm in for the animation program I'm in is going really great. I'm animating this walk cycle thing that's going... It's all right. I had to restart it at one point because apparently we had to make because we have a female character we have to animate, and we have to shoot our own reference of ourselves walking, and I'm a man who walks like a human Sasquatch and doesn't have this voluptuous hips of a woman who walks voluptuously. So my lead animator was like, we need you to shoot someone that's a girl and it can walk voluptuously. And I'm like, well, I know a lot of female Sasquatches that walk like I do.
Me.
And so I had my mom do it, and when my mom did it, well, guess what, she walked like a female Sasquatch. So she can attest to that.
Okay,
it's a fact. And I told my lead animator, I'm like, I'm sorry, it just runs in the family, my guy. And he goes, it's all right. We'll use the one that you took. And I was like, thanks.
Good try.
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't have to start all the way over. Then that would have sucked.
I do, because I'm using my mom's reference.
But it's the same.
I still can't use mine. My mom's reference, she still has a Sasquatch voluptuous hip sway, and that's better than mine. So technically, I have to start all over. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry.
Yeah. The story of my life.
Oh my god.
But other than that, it's going great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do I have anything? We are very, very busy at the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
Very
getting
much
ready
so.
for opening.
Mm-hmm. A lot of testing and adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have like a little soft opening for the cast members. Yay! I'm excited about that. Yeah. Besides all that chaoticness, though.
That's about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Welcome, campers, to our lives outside of camp. That's what we do. I have something really cool in store for everybody today. It's been requested by a couple campers and even by some people that I know personally, and that is doing a part 2 to episode 2, which was of national parks and forests and search and rescue people experiencing strange phenomena and people going missing. So this is going to be a part 2 of that. If you would like to know more about what I'm talking about, please go back and listen to episode 2. You'll have a clear understanding of what I'm going to be talking about today. I'll do a small recap for you listeners that have already listened to episode 2. But if you haven't, I highly suggest you go back and listen to it. So far, people say it's one of the most scariest. So, yeah. So today is going to be really, really scary. And I had nightmares finishing my research because it was so intense. Yeah, so this one's going to be a really intense ride, y'all.
Okay, mind you, you told me some of these stories, too, in person. And actually, like nature.
In the forest,
around an actual campfire.
Campfire, yeah, we did.
And then the fog rolled in, and you're telling all these scary-ass stories. And we're going to go back to this? You're saying we're going to go back to this?
Oh, we're going back, and there's more to tell. Yeah, so again, campers, go back to episode 2, listen to it right now. You will not regret it. Jacob is, our other camp counselor, is hosting with me, and you'll get to hear a lot of stories. It's a really long episode, and so is this one. This one's going to be pretty long, but it's so worth it because it's so absolutely terrifying.
I'm scared.
And I'm not trying to hype you guys up like, oh, hype, and then it's like, it's not scary. No.
This is going to be gnarly.
This is going to be gnarly.
We've talked about this already before. Like I said, I'm already physically uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
So, without further ado, campers, let's gather around the campfire.
Yeah, let's grab the blankies, snuggle up, and another, I guess, tip for camp: don't leave without your exit buddy. Always stay together, and do not trail off by yourself into the woods. Please.
Nope.
I know I've said this already, but I have to make this clear right now. Don't do it.
Because you'll know why you don't go off by yourself real quick.
God damn it.
All right. Without further ado, let's crack into this. This is going to be a long episode, and it's going to be really terrifying, and just everybody stay with me. We're all along for the journey. Dolores is not excited.
Camp Counselor Dolores might need to sneak off for vaping breaks to ease myself in.
Woo. So I've done more research on this topic of national parks and search and rescue people experiencing strange phenomena, missing people, seeing weird creatures. So I went and found more information. Some from that Reddit user who was a search and rescue officer and said all these stories. I pulled some more stories out of that. And then I also watched a documentary on Amazon Prime. It's only $4 and it's called Missing 411. And they just came out with a second movie, and I might do a part 3 for the second movie. And it's called 411 Hunted. And that is even more terrifying. So be tuned. I don't know when that'll happen. But just know that it's more than likely going to. So I pulled out some more scary experiences for you guys. So a recap, I'm going to explain some definitions and stories that were told briefly. So search and rescue, I'm going to abbreviate it often. It's SAR, search and rescue. I'm going to be saying it a lot, so please remember that. SAR, search and rescue people, basically what they do is that they are in the search for and provision of aid to people who are in distress or imminent danger. There are multiple different types of SAR people. There's ground, mountain, urban, combat, maritime, and inland wilderness. And that's the one we're going to be focusing more on, is inland wilderness. So some stories and experience we have discussed in episode 2 were a man without a face being seen around the park stalking people and then fading into the forest. A child's body was found up a very large tree.
Oh.
It imploded, and then the child's guts were hung up on the tree as decor.
That's the one I remember the most.
Yeah. A Wendigo type creature waiting in the water and then trying to lure you away. People disappearing and then reappearing miles away, unable to remember how they had gotten there or how impossible it was to get there in such a short amount of time. Mysterious stairs that are in the middle of the forest, clean and pristine. And things or beings mimicking animals or people.
I hated that one too.
Yeah. So these are the stories that we talked about in episode 2. So now I have some new ones for you. Are you ready?
I think for once we're legit gonna be sticking with our camp name. I think it's really happening now.
Yeah. No, this one's going to keep you awake for sure. Like, these ones are going to be in the back of your mind as you're going to bed.
Okay, I'm ready.
So the SART officer that posted these stories also posted some that weren't his own, that were of his coworkers, so he just kind of retold it. Some he kind of does the retelling in their own voice as well. So I'll try to make sure I differentiate it as much as possible for you guys. So that's how the story starts. The last story that KD told me was of something that happened to her when she got separated from her training group when she was a rookie. They were learning the basics of high elevation, belaying on a well-mapped side of the mountain, and she had to use the bathroom. She went off about 50 yards from the group during a meal break and did her business. Went pee, took a doo-doo, whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
So he says, I'll tell the rest exactly as she told it to me.
Okay.
So this is her narrating.
Okay.
So I go to take a piss.
Uh-huh.
I thought you were going to laugh. I don't know why. So I go to take a piss, and once I'm done, I start going back to the group. But I've only gotten about 5 feet when I realize that I have no idea where I am. Oh. And this wasn't like I got turned around lost. I mean, I had literally no fucking clue where I was.
She only went 5 feet?
Yeah, 5 feet away. So if you'd asked me, I don't even think I'd have been able to tell you what state we were in. It was sort of how I imagine people with amnesia feel, You're completely lost and you have no idea what to do, so I just stood there for a while trying to figure out where the F I was and what I was supposed to do.
Oh, it's almost like she was in some sort of weird trance now.
Trance, yeah. So she goes, but the longer I stand there, the more confused and turned around I get. So I start walking. As I recall, I picked a random direction and went for it. And as I'm walking, it just gets worse and worse to the point where I have no concept of why I'm on the mountain in the first place.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I'm just trudging through the snow, and then I start hearing this voice. It's kind of inside my head, almost like if a frog could talk, all low and croaky, and it's telling me over and over,
it's okay. It's okay. You just need to find something to eat. Find something to eat. You'll be okay. Just keep walking and find something to eat. 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 Eat.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
I start looking around for anything that I can eat, and I swear to God, I've never felt more hungry than I have in my entire life. It was bottomless, and I think I'd have eaten just about anything if you put it in front of me right then and there. I had no concept of time, So I had no idea how long I'd been out there when I hear an actual voice coming towards me. I go toward it, and I see it's one of the other SAR officers, and he looks effing terrified. He's running towards me, asking if I'm okay and what the hell I'm doing out here. And the scary thing was, as he's running toward me, I kind of see myself reaching into my belt for my hunting knife.
What the fuck?
I'm not even really thinking about what I'm doing, but what I am thinking is that I have to eat.
No.
And if I don't eat, I'll never be okay again. So I just have to eat.
Oh my God.
He sees me doing that and backs off right away. He yells at me to put my knife away and that he's not going to hurt me, and that kind of snaps me back to reality. All of a sudden, I know exactly where I am, and I put the knife away. I run to him and ask him how long I've been gone, thinking he'd tell me I've only been gone for half an hour or so. But then he tells me I had been gone for 2 days.
What?
Yeah. I've gone over 2 peaks and ended up almost on the other side of the mountain. And if I'd kept going, I would have ended up wandering in about 300 miles of wilderness. They would have never have found me. He can't believe I'm not dead, and of course, I don't know what they have to think. To me, no time had passed at all.
I was going to say 2 days. If she feels like she's just been walking the whole time, I wonder if she really was.
Yeah.
If she just literally kept going?
I don't know. So I don't say anything. I just go back to him to the rendezvous point, and I'm taken back to HQ to be airlifted to the hospital. When I get there to do all kind of tests and they try to figure out what happened to me, as best they can guess, I had some kind of weird fuse state, which is kind of like amnesia or a weird seizure that knocked my brain out of whack. But the truth is that we don't really know. It's never happened again, but I'll tell you, ever since then, I never go out there alone. People rag on me for making them come with me when I have to leave the group, but I just tell them that listening to me piss in the snow is better than losing me for 2 effing days on a freezing mountain.
Oh my God.
Facts.
I mean, yeah, true.
Facts. Yeah.
Holy
That's wild.
Shit. Homegirl just went to go pee, and now she's gone for 2 days, and she's getting ready to kill someone and eat them.
Yeah, and this voice, eat.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh.
I hate that.
Yeah, so here is the next story. The next person I talked to was EW, a former trainer who now works as an EMT. He still comes to ops like this to help out. He doesn't work full-time for us anymore, but he is specialized in finding lost kids. He just seemed to have a sixth sense when it came to knowing where they had gone, which is really cool. That's a really cool perk to have when you're a search and rescue officer and you need to find kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a legend among more of the more senior vets, but he gets embarrassed if you compliment him on his work. He sat down with me at dinner one evening and we ended up swapping stories. Most of them were just casual, but then we got on the subject of our weirder calls. I mentioned that I had a buddy who had gone up a set of stairs. He kind of got quiet and asked me if he heard of a little boy who disappeared from the park a few years back. I had it, and so he told me this story. Here we are back at the stairs again, Dolores. We all know what happens on the stairs.
We don't. No, we don't. We don't go to stairs. No.
We don't go to stairs. That's one of our rules at camp. You avoid them at all costs.
Yep.
It's if you find them in the middle of the woods. So here's the reason why. They were out looking for an 11-year-old boy. His name was Joey, who had gotten missing near a river. Of course, the first thought is that he had fallen in and drowned, but when they brought out the dogs, they led SAR officers away from the river and up a very densely forested area. When we do searches for people, we search in a grid pattern, and we search every quote-unquote box of the grid incredibly thoroughly, which is really smart to do. So what EW's team noticed right away was that a very strange pattern was emerging. Dogs in alternating boxes were picking up Joey's scent, but losing it when they overlapped with another box. So if you think of a checkerboard, Joey's scent was being picked up in random black squares, but never in the red. This, of course, didn't make any sense because how could a kid bounce from one area to another area without leaving a scent in each place that he had passed?
Oh no, this doesn't sound
So he's just
good.
bouncing around. Like it's impossible.
Why was the first thing that came into my head like, oh, his body parts are just scattered everywhere?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think it's from the last story. I'm sorry.
Yeah. EW and his partner pass into a new box of the grid, and EW notices a set of stairs about 50 yards away.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
He tells his partner that they need to go check near it, but his partner flat out refuses. He tells EW that he's made it a point to never go near any stairs that he sees, and while that it may be routine, he's not to pretend that it's normal. He tells EW that he'll wait in sight while EW checks. I'm gonna watch from a distance. You go check. I'm gonna watch from over here. Good luck.
I'm gonna supervise.
Yeah, I'm gonna supervise. EW says he was irritated. He's like, come on, dude, we just gotta do our job.
Yeah.
But he felt for the guide. He didn't push him on the subject. This is what he says. I walked over to the stairs. They were small, kind of like stairs into a basement. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other about them, the stairs I mean, so I wasn't scared or anything. I guess I'm just like everybody else. I just preferred not to think about them too much. Anyway, I went over and I could see that there was something lying on the bottom of the step, soft and curled up. My heart sinks because, of course, you always hope for the best, and we are confident that we would find this kid alive. but he had only been missing for a few hours. But I knew right away that it was him and that he was dead.
Whoa.
So he was curled up in a little ball on the step, holding his stomach. It looked like he had been in horrible pain when he had died. But I didn't see any blood, except some on his lips and chin. I radioed in that I'd found him, and we had got his body back to command. The poor family was so devastated. The parents couldn't understand how he'd be dead because he'd only been gone for such a short amount of time. And on top of that, we didn't have an obvious cause of death, which just made it worse.
Yeah.
So I figured he'd probably eaten some poisonous like berries or something since he was holding his stomach when we found him. But I didn't want to guess. It's hard enough to hear that your kid is dead, let alone some stupid SAR guy guessing about what had happened to him. They took him away, and I went home and tried not to think about it. I hate finding dead kids, man. I love this job, but it's one of the reasons why I left. I got 2 daughters of my own, and the thought of losing them is just way too hard.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I'm not really great with emotional stuff like that, and it's always sort of awkward to see a grown man cry, so I didn't really know what to do. He pulled himself together eventually, though, and he kept going on with the story. He says, we don't always hear back from the coroners about the cause of death. It's really not our job to know.
Yeah.
Because technically they're just there to search and find people.
Yeah.
But sometimes if they think it's foul play, they won't tell us because of legal bullshit. But he has a friend who works for the sheriff's department, and he'll usually pass stuff along if any interesting info comes along.
Okay.
So, if it's anything legal, then anything weird, he'll let this guy know. So in this case, though, I actually got a call from him about a week later. He asked if I had remembered the kid, and of course I do. And he says some seriously weird shit is going on. He tells me, EW man, you're going to think I'm crazy, but the coroner has no idea what had happened to this kid. He's never seen anything like it. End quote. My friend goes on to tell me that when the coroner opened up this kid, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. The kid's organs were like Swiss cheese. Quarter-sized holes were punched clean through about every single organ this kid had, aside from his heart and lungs. But his colon, his stomach, his kidneys, and even one of his testicles were full of clean holes.
What? What?
Yeah. My friend said the coroner described it as if someone had taken a hole punch and punched the holes out of everything. They were so clean, precise, and neat. But the kid didn't even have a scratch on him, no entry or exit wounds.
What the fuck? What
That
the
is-
fuck?
Yeah.
Wow, I can't even. Like, there's no logical sense to that.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, I don't know, tape like worms or something, but that doesn't make sense either. Like, there's nothing.
If it's going clean through, like someone just took a hole punch to you.
There's nothing to.
And there's no entry or exit wounds, nothing.
What the fuck?
How do you explain that?
Yeah, you don't. Clearly, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't. So as far as I know, the coroner determined the cause of death as something like massive internal bleeding, but no one knows what had really happened. I've never been able to forget that kid. I have nightmares about it sometimes. I don't let my kids go into the woods alone, and when we go together, I never let them out of my sight.
Hell yeah.
I used to love it out here, but that case and a couple others just sort of ruined it for me. Dinner was over, so we just started to clean up and go back into our cabins before we went our separate ways. He put his hand on my shoulder and looked at me really close, and he tells me that there are bad things out there. Things that don't care if we have families or lives, or that we can think and feel. He tells me to be careful, and he walks away. I didn't get the chance to talk with him again, but that story stuck with me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I have a really quick small story. I didn't put it in here, but I remember it. A SAR officer found a set of stairs, and his buddy told him, "Hey, don't go up that set of stairs. Like, they're really dangerous. They tell us to stay away from them because weird shit happens."
Yeah.
The man goes up the set of stairs, and he's at the top of the stairs and sticks his hand out to see if he can feel anything in the air. You know what I mean? Cold, and his hand got sliced off, like midair. Like someone just sliced his hand off, and when his hand hit the ground, it disappeared.
What the? What the hell?
Yeah, the guy quit, and they've never been able to find his hand.
So, I wonder, did this little boy get too far up the stairs?
Well, remember, these went downstairs, though.
Oh, they went down.
There's a little basement area.
And he was at...
So, like, in the middle of the forest, bottom of the stairs, curled up in a ball, holding his stomach.
That's weird.
Yeah. I think just any stairs in the forest, campers, just stay away from the stairs, god damn it.
Seriously. Otherwise, your organs are going to become Swiss cheese.
With cheese, or you're going to lose a hand, literally.
Oh my god.
So, I have another story. Another story is told by one of the officers. And here we go. This is him. This is one of the officers talking. I was out on a training exercise a few years ago. I was camped out in my tent, and I heard someone walking around our camp. We were told not to wander far, which you know, so I wondered if maybe it was a rookie who had gotten up to pee and couldn't find his way back. Remember that guy in our group a few years back who almost fell off the damn mountain? Well, I was paranoid about that happening again, so I got up to see what was going on. Mm-hmm. Nice of him. I went to the edge of camp, and I called to whoever it was and told them that the camp was this way. But they kept going back out into the woods. So I went after them. I know it was kind of stupid, but I was half asleep and I just didn't really want to deal with some idiot getting hurt.
Yeah.
So I followed this person on a dead straight course for about a mile, and then I stopped. Oh, and then it stopped on the edge of a little river. I could see the outline of it because the water was reflecting the moon, and it looked just like an ordinary guy. He had a pack on, and it looked like he was facing me. I asked, if he was okay, if he needed help, and he cocked his head like he didn't understand me.
No.
I always have my pocket knife on me, so, and it's got a little light attached to it. So I turned that on and lit up his chest so it wouldn't blind him. He was breathing slow and deep, so I wondered if he was sleepwalking. Right? I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I went closer and asked him if he was okay. I moved the light up and something didn't seem right, so I stopped. He kept breathing in real slow. Deep breaths, and I sort of figured out gradually that that's what was bothering me. It was like he was pretending to breathe, but not actually doing it. His breaths were too even and deep, and all his movements were exaggerated, like his shoulders would go up and his chest moving. So
Yeah.
It looks off. I told him to identify himself, and he made this muffled noise.
Oh.
I moved the light up, and I shit you not, the guy had no face.
Oh.
Just smooth skin. I freaked out and I sort of fumbled my light, but I saw him move toward me, but he didn't actually move.
What?
I don't know how to explain it, but 1 second he was at the edge of the river, and the next he was 5 feet away from me.
Oh my god.
I never looked away or blinked. It was like he moved so fast that my brain couldn't keep up.
Oh, I hate that.
I tripped and fell on my ass, and I could see this line open up on his throat.
What the fuck?
It stretched all the way up to his ears, and his head tilted back, and he smiled at me with his throat. There wasn't any blood, just like a gaping dark hole, and I swear he smiled at me with this gash in his throat. I got up and ran as fast as I could back to camp.
I'm fucking scared now. My chair creaked, and I scared myself.
Good. So I calmed down and went back to camp. Their fire was still going, and I guess that pack mentality of being with other people made me stop and breathe a little. I waited by the fire to see if he had followed me there, but I didn't hear anything else for a few hours, so I went back to bed. I know it sounds weird, but the whole thing was just so surreal that it was almost like I had immediately wrote it off as my imagination.
I hate that because I just pictured everything.
Yeah, that one's rough. That one's terrifying.
Oh.
A line just started forming on his head, going all the way up to his ears as he's tilting his head back, and then his neck opens up. Ugh. Oh, it's ugh. I hate it. God, you were so quiet. So disturbed.
Because I'm like literally, I'm seeing it all, and it's just fucking scary. And
Well, I have some good news for you.
What?
That was the last one from the Reddit thread.
Okay.
Now moving on to the documentary watch called Missing 411, talking about missing people cases. Trigger warning for a lot of families and parents. It might be hard for you to listen to this, especially new parents, because it has to do with missing children. And I couldn't even imagine what it's like to lose a child. And in these situations I'm about to read to you, it just makes it all the harder as a parent, especially as a new one. So just trigger warning to anybody who's lost a child before. This might be triggering. And to any new parent, this is probably very, very scary for you. And it's even scary for me. So Missing 401 is actually a book series. And it was then adapted into a documentary, which can be found on Amazon Prime Video. Again, it's called Missing 411. It's like $3-4 to rent. If you want to buy the movie, it's like $9. I just rented it. And so I'm going to be talking about the first disappearance. And Missing 411 talks about missing cases from all over the national parks throughout the United States.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and so these are the most credible disappearances. Rather, as like the Reddit thread, it could all be fake, but
yeah.
I don't think that shit is, because some of these cases are very much matching to what I've read.
I was gonna say it's pretty
in
close.
The Reddit thread. Yeah. So we're gonna be
great.
talking about our first case, our first disappearance. His name was Dior Coons, and Dior Coons Jr. So he had disappeared July 10th of 2015 in the Salmon Chalice National Forest. So he had Dior Coons Jr. disappeared on July 10th of 2015 in the Salmon Chalice National Forest. He was only 2 years old when he had disappeared.
Baby.
So here is how he disappeared.
Oh, no.
In the small town of Leodore, Idaho, which is very remote and with little to no cell service, there's a camping ground that many people like to visit. The road leading into the campground is not just a normal road. It's super rocky. If you go any faster than 5 miles per hour, you can really damage your car. It's over 7 miles of rough road and large rocks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got to get back there. So the family was staying at Timber Creek Campground, where the road meets a dead end. That's where the campsite is. And there's a small clearing for your tent, a table, and it's about 20 feet away from a creek down a really steep hill. And you're surrounded by hills, so you feel pretty safe. You're isolated.
Yeah.
You can hear someone coming in or coming out.
Okay.
The creek next, that's only 20 feet away from the campsite, is like a mix of like swamp-like creek. There's a lot of fallen trees. Not so much swampy as like gross, just like there's a lot of overgrowth, and that's because it's natural. It's not maintained.
Yeah.
So it looks really pretty. It looks like it's a natural fresh spring. Think of it like my uncle's property, where it's just like it's just natural.
That's literally what I was thinking just now.
Yeah. So Jessica, the mom of Dior Jr., her grandfather Bob would often visit this site as a kid, and it had brought a lot of good memories for him, so he wanted to share this with his family. Mm-hmm. He's like, I know this really great spot. Let's go check it out. I think my youngest grandson will love it. There's a creek he can play in.
Oh,
Let's
cute.
go have a good time. So the family had arrived late on July 9th, the evening before Dior Coons Jr. had disappeared. Are you okay?
I'm sorry, Cleo came right up to the door and went, meh. I was like, are you fucking... The worst time to do that. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So the family had arrived late on July 9th, the evening before Dior Coons Jr. had disappeared. Mm-hmm. The family states that it was super dark when they had arrived, and they went straight to bed after their long drive. Their grandfather slept in the camper. I think the father set up a tent. He stayed in the tent, and then Jessica and Dior Jr. stayed in the back of the Suburban, and that's where they slept for the evening.
Okay.
So the people that are there with them are Jessica the mom, their dad, Dior Sr., their grandpa named Bob, and then grandpa brought his friend named Isaac along, and then Dior Jr., the kid. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next day, the family had realized just how remote they were, and they had a feeling of safety due to the fact that there was no one else for miles. It was just them. And then suddenly Jessica realized she needed some feminine products.
Oh.
And she was like, girl, I need some pads and tampons.
Yikes.
And so she got in the car with Dior Sr. She brought her kid along. They went, several miles out. They went to the small town of Leodore and went like some general store. They got some candy for Dior Jr. and they got, her feminine products, and they headed back.
Okay.
So when they had got back, Isaac and Jessica's grandpa Bob showed them, hey, look, we caught some fish in this creek. And Jessica's like, there's no way you caught no fish in that tiny little creek. There's no way. There's no way. Because this creek is pretty small. She
She said, I'll call you out on your bullshit.
Bullshit, exactly. And so she was like, her and her husband were like, can you show us where you got these fish, Isaac? Mm-hmm. And the grandpa stayed at the campsite. And from where, from the creek to where they saw these fish at to where the campsite was mainly only probably like, 15 feet away. Mm-hmm. Wasn't very far away. Probably, Dolores, from like where you're sitting at to where your car's parked out front.
Yeah, it's not that far.
It's not that far. So they go, and Isaac is showing them, where they caught the fish. On their way walking there, Dior Jr. follows her mom, follows his mom along, mm-hmm. and suddenly changes. Little Dior Jr. was like, I'm going to go stay with Grandpa. And so Jessica's like, hey, Grandpa, he's coming back to you. He doesn't want to tag along. He's getting kind of fussy. It's his nap time anyway. And so he starts to walk back. And so Grandpa's like, all right, I see him. He's coming towards me. So Jessica said on the way to the creek, she kept looking over her shoulder to make sure that Dior Jr. wasn't still following and was still making his way to Grandpa. Mm-hmm. And he was. So once they had saw that he was on his way, they continued and they saw the two spots where Isaac had caught these fish. The parents noticed that there were tons of minnows in the creek and knew that their young son would love to play with the minnows. Minnows are like little tiny fish, little baby fish.
Okay.
And they were kind of stuck in this little nook they couldn't escape out of, so he'd be able to like play with the fish and see with his eyes, and they knew that it would really entertain him.
Yeah.
So Jessica and her husband were like, oh, let's go back. Let's go bring him here. Mm-hmm. So the husband went up to the campsite and was like, hey, where's Dior Jr.? And Grandpa goes, oh, he's right there. And he goes, right where? He's right there.
Oh, no.
And, well, the little boy vanished. They start panicking and they start doing a search of the immediate campground. Isaac is still at the creek and doesn't know what's happening, as the frantic parents and grandfather start looking for Dior Jr. So in the matter, Dolores, of roughly 10 minutes, he vanished.
Yeah, so that's weird, because, they saw him the whole time.
Yeah, they saw him walking back. They turned their eyes away to look at the creek. The grandpa saw him on his way to him, and then I guess maybe the grandpa took his eyes off him for a minute.
I was going to say, at one point, at where did he stop paying attention?
Yeah, exactly. So in that little less than 10 minutes, he disappeared. He vanished.
Man.
So after 20 minutes of having no sign of him, the most logical thing to do is to do what?
Go find help?
Yeah, call 911, find help.
Yeah.
So, well, again, they're in the remote part of the woods. They can't get any signal. Luckily, Jessica was able to get one bar. And so...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Were there any... what are those called? Rangers checking on campsites or anything?
No, not really. They didn't, at least they didn't say that a ranger came in and camped on their campsite.
That's weird, because usually, at least at campsites or like national parks or something, they'll come and check on people. Hey, y'all good?
Yeah, but I've camped many places and I've never had them visit me. The only time we saw them was when we checked in.
Oh, really?
Like, oh, you're lot B12. Have a good time.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that's for me. It's normal. I'll never see him, but yeah, that did not happen, unfortunately. So she was able to get one bar of cell service to call 911, and let me play you a snippet of it.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Leadore, just outside of Leadore.
Uh-huh.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
How long has he been missing?
About an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Are you by water?
Yes.
Do you know which campground you're in?
Timber Creek.
Hold on. We need search and rescue.
So that was a snippet of the 911 call.
Uh-huh.
You have a very confused look on your face. Why?
Did she
I
say?
guess.
Did she say 1 or 4 hours? I couldn't tell.
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been looking for an hour. They called. They're like, okay, we're gonna send out search and rescue to that campsite.
To your location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically what happened. But Dolores, this is one of many like this, where in a matter of minutes, somehow these people or children were just literally plucked out of the sky, literally vanished with no trace. So the SAR team had brought in all the help they can get. They had night vision teams for nighttime, thermal, dogs for searching, on-ground people, volunteers, private investigators, over 300 plus searchers.
Oh my God.
But they have found nothing. They also check bird nests like eagles because they would be able to pick them up because they can pick up to like 200 and no, it was like 100 and something pounds like they can pick up, and he was under that. They checked eagles nests, they found nothing. They checked bear dens, wolf dens, nothing. They searched the creek on their hands and knees. They cut up logs. Maybe he got to the creek and got swept under a log and drowned. Nothing. The family said that he had shoes that were too big for him, so if he were like drug away by an animal or ran away, he would probably have lost a shoe.
Yeah.
But not even that. They found no clothes, no shoes, skins, bones, hair, blood, nothing.
Wow.
Like he just vanished. Law enforcement states that from day one, the whole family was considered a person of interest because they're the only ones there. So Dad, Dior Sr., Mom, Jessica Mitchell, Grandpa Bob, friend of Grandpa's, Isaac.
Uh-huh.
Out of all their interrogations, they came out clean and didn't slip up in any way, so they were ruled out. They ruled out Bob, the grandpa, because he was very ill and old-minded, and the police said that he was ruled out fast due to his mental and health state. Health state considering he was on an oxygen tank and was on it when this had happened. So say like if he had murdered his young son, it'd be hard to do if he has an oxygen tank he's carrying around with him.
Yeah.
And then he's also not mentally all there. Isaac was ruled out, but many people still point the finger at him because he was just an oddball, but he was accounted for because he was at the creek the entire time.
Yeah.
Since then, there have been many theories about this via online. Social media can be a very mean place. People have said the parents have sold him into slavery. People have said that sexual predators knew that they were coming to this campsite and found the kid and took him. People say Bigfoot took him. People said it was an accidental death by the parents and they covered it up.
Oh.
Some people said it was a murder for hire. Some people said the town the town killed the child for a sacrifice to the devil.
What the fuck?
Some people said they sold the kid for drugs. Like, it just goes on for days, Dolores.
Jesus
so many
Christ.
stupid theories that don't make any sense. So the FBI got involved 3 months later. They offered assistance to the police department and to the family in any way and asked if they could help with anything. And so the police department asked if you could help with forensic evidence. So they went through everything with a fine-tooth comb to get DNA evidence and come up with multiple theories on how Dior Jr. went missing. You know, like maybe these person are a suspect and we need to be looking at them, or this is a story that, you know, a theory that could lead into the possible finding of Dior Jr. But they didn't find anything.
Jeez.
Nothing. They found nothing, and they said they couldn't help with the case because there was nothing there. So the parents avoided the media because it focused too much on the parents and never on their son.
Yeah.
It always pointed the finger at them like, well, what did you do?
Of course.
You probably did. You probably killed your son. She's like, well, the parents...
Or how can you be so negligent or, you know, shit like
yeah.
that.
Basically, but the parents were like, well, let's not focus on us. We need to be focusing on my son and trying to find him. So they're still looking for Dior Jr., the family is, and they're still hiking those mountains for their missing son. They still have not found him. It is now 2021. They still haven't found him yet.
6 years. Holy shit.
Parents, again, have been ruled out. I think if they wanted the FBI to help, I'm pretty sure that they're innocent, because if anything, the FBI would have found something on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was our first missing case. Our next one is about Bobby Bishop. He disappeared August 15th of 1958 in Rocky Mountain National Park. He was only 10 years old.
Oh, I'm like still processing the first one. Holy shit.
Yeah. So Camp St. Malo was where this place took place, where he disappeared. This place is most visited by Catholics in the Estes Valley in Colorado. Long story short, back in the day, 1917, Father Joseph Busetti was a Catholic priest, and he visited this place and was in awe by its beauty. Him and 3 others were camping at the slope nearby when a meteor fell out of the sky and landed. Him and 3 others went to go check on like where this meteor landed, and they ended up building their church on top of the site where this meteor had landed.
What the fuck?
Because they thought it was like a sign of God, and not dogging a religion, that's what they believed. Cool. Yeah. So they built this church on top of the meteor where it landed. Father Pusetti then said it would be a great place for a boys' camp, and then the rest is history.
It's just so random. Yeah, this meteor just fell from Earth. Let's put a church on it now. It's just so random. That's why I'm laughing.
So this chapel was finally built in 1935. The camp was like any other. They took boys on hikes, made fires, had fun playing games, and the camaraderie was really great in this camp, and many young boys loved it.
Okay.
Like it was a great camp.
Just like our camp.
Just like our camp, except with all the murder and paranormalness and death and cryptids and lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So August 15th of 1958, young Bobby Bishop was fishing. He loved to fish. Also, he was partially deaf and he wore a hearing aid. Well, as he was fishing, a camp counselor had found him and was like, "Hey, bud, it's time for dinner. You got to head back with me to camp." And camp was maybe like 30 feet away. It wasn't that far. And it was on a path trail to go back. So camp counselor's like, "All right, come with me, bud. We're going to go back. It's time for dinner." So Bobby started following him back to the camp. Just a few steps later, the camp counselor turned around to make sure Bobby was still behind him, and Bobby had vanished.
What the fuck? What?
Yeah.
What? How do people? I don't understand. How these people
exactly.
are just poof.
Poofed. So their camp was right on the border of the Rocky Mountain National Park, and everyone was worried that he had run off into the forest, which is weird because the camp counselor would have heard him run off into the forest.
Yeah, and it was if it was that quick.
Yeah, he just took a few steps. He was following on the way out and took a few steps, turned around, gone.
Fucking Thanos snapped out of there. I'm sorry.
Reality can be whatever I want.
Oh my god.
So within 4 days, they had gathered up to 400 people to search for the missing boy, Bobby Bishop, which is a lot of people. It's crazy that these people can round up that many people, but I guess because it's a child, like, it's more people are, not to say like if they were an adult, but I feel like more people are willing to help look for a missing child.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they're only like 10 years old or 2 or 3. So from SAR experts, police, and volunteers, they had that's all the people that came to help out. That bundle of people. They went to the extent of even dropping papers from the sky over the area with a note saying, "Mother and father love you. We need you. Mother is sick. She needs you at home. We love you."
Oh,
in hopes that if he were lost out in the forest, he would find one of these flyers and know that, like, hey, they're trying to find me. I need to try to make myself known.
Oh, that's sad. Oh.
So on August 25th, the search for Bobby was stopped only after a 9-day effort.
Oh.
A news clipping states, "No clue to Bobby's whereabouts has been turned up, and his parents say they have given up hope."
Oh, no.
So the 3 camp counselors that were there that day when he had disappeared had returned the next year to help out at camp. These 3 camp counselors were walking up the side of Mount Mika or Ika. They pronounce it really weird.
Okay.
But anyways, these 3 camp counselors are walking up the side of this mountain. Over the boulder field, about 2,000 feet away from the camp, they had found a hearing aid, and bits of clothing.
Oh no.
They ended up finding Bobby Bissup's remains.
Like his wait, as in his body remains, like actual remain. Oh.
Yeah. Again, 2,000 feet away. Dolores, if I wish, I don't think I have a picture of it. Maybe I do. They show it on the map. Dolores, it is so far away from camp. There's absolutely no freaking way. I don't have a picture of it. Never mind. There's no way. There's no way. It's impossible. When I say it's impossible, it's impossible.
Jesus Christ.
So his body was located in a ravine. And these SAR people had searched that area during the year prior at least a dozen times.
So, wait, a year.
Yeah, so a year ago when they were first doing the investigation, they have searched that place over a dozen times.
So my question is, how deteriorated was the body?
It was pretty deteriorated.
Like, enough time.
Just bones.
Never mind. Got it. Okay.
There you go.
I was gonna say, was it fresh? Was it
No.
bed? Or okay, got it.
Yeah, this is a year later, so I had plenty of time to decompose.
So then it should have been sitting there already.
Yeah, exactly. His body, they technically should have run across his body already if they had searched that place a dozen times.
So did
And they never came across it.
Did something. Only logical thing I can think of. Animal got a hold of him and had dinner and dragged the body. Rest of him over to that.
That's
that
what
ravine.
they think.
Okay.
So his body was found miles and miles and miles and miles from where the camp counselor had found him fishing. There's literally no way he could have made it that far without having being seen or found, because it wasn't super dense of a forest, but it was such a insane hike to do. They would have come across him eventually,
Something
and they
had
never
to have
did.
dragged him out or something.
Well, see, the thing was that he had no blood on his clothes. There was no blood on his remains. There was no scratch marks. There's nothing. No fibers indicating that an animal had taken him.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. So, and it still has remained unsolved.
Wow.
So, I have another one here for you. And this one is going to make you really upset.
Oh.
So good luck. This little boy who disappeared, his name was Jared Atadero. He was age 3 when he had disappeared. He had disappeared in the Colorado mountains in 1999. He went missing on a hike with his family up on a mountain. His family had owned a resort in that area, Padre Canyon Resort, in 1999, and that's where his family was staying to get the business open for the upcoming season. They had chose this resort in this place because it was rich in nature. It was a 10-acre resort, and it was small but so beautiful. Mm-hmm. In the fall of 1999, a Christian singles group was staying at the lodge, helping Alan Atadero, the dad, prepare for the winter in exchange for lodging.
Okay.
The group wanted to go to a trout farm that was not too far away, and the little boy was like, "Dad, can I go with them? Like, I really want to go see these fish." And the dad was like, "Yeah, you can go with them. Just take your sister with you and be safe." So the group decided, let's take these 2 kids. We'll keep an eye on them for you, Dad. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But back in that time, it was like just a different time, even in the 1990s. Uh-huh. So the group decided, you know what? We're not going to go to the trout farm. Instead, they drove 15 miles further and went up the road to a trail called the Big South Trailhead. The trail was very moderate and it went up and down a lot, and some of the trails were very narrow. The trail was pretty rough if you were a beginner. You can take a child on this trail, but you need to keep an eye on them because of how rough and rugged this terrain is.
Okay.
So the group on the trail decided to split up, but Jared stayed with his sister and another adult, and they were ahead of all the other groups. Jared sped up and went ahead to explore, jumping on logs, going over rocks, just being a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? Well, he went up a little too far ahead, and so his sister and the adult tried to catch up with him. But as soon as they tried to catch up with him, he went behind a tree and suddenly disappeared.
I was going to say, he's already fucking gone, isn't he?
Yeah, he vanished. He vanished in a matter of minutes.
Jesus Christ.
So the group, freaking out, this kid is missing. They came back to the lodge and told his father, something is wrong with Jared. He's okay, but he's missing.
Wait a minute. You can't word it like that.
Yeah, something's wrong with Jared. He's okay, but he's missing.
No, that doesn't work that way.
No. And so Jared's father was like, okay, so he gets in the car, he drives up, he's trying to search for his son. But without any luck, I think we all know they couldn't find his son. They brought in SAR people, 100 people started searching. Over 69 of them were search and rescue. They searched for 8 days and then they called it off.
Fuck.
So for 3.5 years, no evidence was ever found. Thus meaning evidence is about to be found.
Yeah.
So a couple of avid hikers 3 years later, were hiking the same path as Jared and the group took when these hikers decided to go off the beaten path and hike 550 feet up the mountain. So they were discussing like, oh, this sucks. This kid was disappeared. Let's like look in the area. Maybe we'll find something. And then they found this one trail and they said, oh, let's go up the mountain. Let's try something a little different today. Let's, push ourselves to the limit. So as they are going on this unbeaten path, they had found Jared's clothes and remains at the top of this mountain at 550 feet.
Oh my God. Oh no.
They both testified that it would be impossible for this 3-year-old to make it that high, considering it was also impossible for them to do it themselves.
Wait, but why would it be impossible for him?
Because it was too steep. He was a 3-year-old. It was 550 feet up a mountain, rough terrain. Like Dolores, I mean, like jagged as all hell. If you can see if you could see the video of them trying to hike up this thing, it's pretty much impossible.
Fuck, I need to see it then, because I'm over here thinking he could probably do it.
No, Dolores, I'm thinking like a vertical slant. Like this. With a lot of rock and a lot of trees.
Fuck.
And very loose gravel. So they had found Jared's clothes and remains. Along with Jared's shoes, jacket, and pants, authorities had found his skull cap and one tooth sitting all atop a log.
What?
They found his shoes, jacket, and pants.
Yeah.
And they found a skull cap and one tooth. All sitting on a log. No other bones were found.
What?
It's fucking weird. So I have a picture.
Oh no.
So, wait, hold on. Let me see. So there's the skull cap. It's kind of hard to see on this, but that's the skull cap.
Can you just send it to me real quick?
Yeah.
So I couldn't really see it. Oh yeah. Ew. You could see like the little cranium line.
Mm-hmm.
Like the skull is just, it's not even like face down. It's face up with all that shit in it.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah, but it's like, how the fuck?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get into that. And it gets real weird.
Okay.
So, yeah, so they had found the shoes, jacket, pants, and the skull cap and one tooth sitting on top of a log. Now, they had searched this area before dozens of times, and this was not there because once a year, they would come out and do another search. And they would never found this in that area. And it kind of left everybody scratching their heads. So this is what the search and rescue team had to say what could have happened to Jared.
Okay.
They said that a mountain lion attacked Jared because that was the only logical explanation. But the clothes had no blood on them from an animal attack or animal hairs of a mountain lion on the person. The shoes were pristine.
Yeah.
Even though a big cat would have had to drag the little boy, and marks would have shown on the shoes,
Yeah,
the sides, the back, and the front.
The shoes.
Yeah, they're
look
brand
clean.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they show it in the documentary, and they're clean, Dolores. Like, not a scratch. His pants then were also found inside out. And his clothes shown wear and tear on them, but only through the elements and not through an animal attack or scratching or biting or clawing.
Yeah.
And and no teeth, scratch or claw marks were found on the clothes or the bones, and only a tooth and skull cap were found, but no other bones were at the site. It was just those two bones. Also, mountain lions attack at the stomach, and at his clothes via stomach, they were untouched.
What the?
And if he was also attacked by a mountain lion, you'd think he would scream.
Yeah.
So, so this is what the search and rescue people say, why there was no reason to have found blood or scratch marks on him. Now, Dolores is going to piss you off, and it's not going to make any goddamn sense.
God,
but this is what they have. This is how they have closed the case.
Yeah. All right.
They say that the reason why there's no blood on his clothes was that the animal or thing took off his clothes and then drug his body up the mountain 500 feet and then killed him. But that doesn't make any sense because his clothes were found up 500 feet with him.
Yeah.
So if it was a mountain lion, the mountain lion had to undress him, take off his pants inside out, take his naked body, kill him up the mountain 500 feet. The mountain lion then decided, oh, let me go grab his clothes too.
Yeah.
Came back down, grabbed the clothes, and brought it back up without scratching or tearing them on any of the rocks.
Yeah. No, literally none of that makes sense.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It sounds like they were just trying to fucking get it over with or something.
No. And the thing that bothers me too is that they say that there was no blood on his clothes was that because the animal or thing, this enigma, something else could have done this to him. That word just freaks me out. So this missing case has too many questions.
Yeah.
Not enough answers. So it then was closed and then it was left unsolved. The father doesn't visit this trail often. And when he does visit this trail, he says that his son had passed in a very beautiful spot.
Oh.
It's very beautiful where this is at.
That's so
but
sad.
he even says he can't even visualize a big cat taking his son. He never will. Like he says that it's force fed to him so often. He's like, yes, you keep saying it's a big cat, and I can see it happening, but it doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. There would have been so many signs during that time.
Yeah.
Of an animal killing.
Mm-hmm. And he hopes one day his son will come running up to him on the trail and give him a hug one day.
Ooh, oh, that breaks my heart. Oh,
yeah,
that's so sad. Ugh.
I'm gonna do one more story, and then I'm gonna have some notes on the National Park Service that are gonna piss off some more.
Oh, God.
So this one's pretty quick. Keith Parkins, he disappeared on April 10th of 1952 in Ritter, Oregon at age 2. That's when he disappeared. Edna Parks, which was Keith's mother, was visiting her parents in Ritter, Oregon during Easter. During this time, there was still a lot of snow on the ground. Everyone near her parents and even her parents were ranchers, so they owned a lot of big property.
Okay.
Edna says that Keith was a very happy child. One day, he had... What? Why did I write that? I said one day he had just been born.
Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, let me backtrack. Edna says that Keith was a very happy child, and then he was very loving and very laid back as a kid, and just, all together around great guy.
Yeah.
Keith said that he was out in the barn with his 2 older brothers before Edna called out to them to come in and have lunch. So the 2 boys came in, but Keith didn't follow them. And Edna, the mom, was asking her 2 older boys, like, where's your younger brother Keith?
Yeah.
Where's he at? Because the 2 older boys, the reason why they were in the barn is because a new calf was just born. So they were, looking at the new calf and having a good time. So the 2 older boys said, oh, instead of following us through the barn, he went on the outside of the barn. And so she's like, okay, well, he needs to come inside. So she went out to go look for him, and he had disappeared.
Jesus Christ.
And they're in the middle of a forest, Dolores, where this ranch is. It's dense woods. So they started the search for him immediately. This is before search and rescue was really a thing, and they didn't have amazing tools like we have now, like night vision, thermal, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So she got together over 200 plus people to help search for her son Keith that lived in the surrounding area.
Holy shit.
In a matter of an hour, Dolores.
homegirl really booked it, did some
Yeah.
work.
Oh, hell yeah.
Holy
It's my
shit.
goddamn kid. I'll make sure I find this kid.
Yeah.
So they had searched for hours until they had found his footprints 3 miles away from the house next to a cattle herd on top of like a mountain.
How the fuck did he get that far?
Yeah. A 2-year-old going 3 miles in less than a couple hours.
What do you do? Book it?
A toddler. No, yeah, literally. But then, like, you gotta keep remembering, it's a toddler.
Yeah.
So the 2-year-old somehow made it that far in less than just a couple hours. Well, then the next day, 19 hours later, they end up finding his body 8 miles away, face down in the snow with his face badly scratched. So here's what's weird. 12 p.m., he goes missing.
Yeah.
7 a.m. the next day, they find his body, so about 19 hours later. They found his footprints 3 miles away from the barn, and then in the opposite direction, find his body 8 miles away. This 2-year-old somehow managed to make the distance on his own. And it's literally impossible. I'll send you the map.
How do they know for sure those were his prints?
Because they match his I mean, he has tiny little feet.
Yeah, I get that.
And they match
but-
his shoes.
Oh, the fucking shoes.
The motherfucking shoes. Let me send you a picture right now of the distance he would have had to go and a picture of him. Yeah. So the guy that who directed this documentary, he went and tried to do the exact same hike himself that the little boy did, and even he had trouble doing it. He said it was freezing temperatures at the time when this happened. Little boy probably should have frozen to death. He did this. He walked somehow 8 miles in the pitch black of night over like really high mountainous terrains. I mean, if you look at a picture of it, literally the landscape looks like this. And he was like, and I'm an experienced hiker. I can't even do this. And somehow this little boy made it there in that short amount of time, regardless if he was high in energy spirits. He's only 2 years old.
How? So are they just? Sorry, let me back. So they're assuming that he walked this trail.
Yeah, he made this distance on his own.
So it's wintertime, you said?
Yes, snow. So he was walking through snow.
So he couldn't have gone, because I see there's like a little river thing right there. So he couldn't have floated down the river or anything.
No.
No,
And I'll tell you why right now.
No,
I'll tell you why right now.
Him either. Fuck.
So,
That's so weird. No, but were there feet prints going on that trail? There were.
Yeah, that's how they were able to find him. They were able to track him.
Well, I see the ones like from barn to the footprint spot. But were there prints from that footprint spot all the way to the body?
Yes. They were able to follow him via like knowing how the lay of the land and knowing how to track animals because they're ranchers.
I mean, 19 hours. I mean, I'm assuming enough time. But still, if you're saying it's that rough a terrain, that's...
So they had found him. He was face down in the snow when they had found his body. His face had a bunch of scratches on it. His clothes were found ripped, and they weren't sure if that was because of the woods and the traveling he had to do to get there, or because he had crossed through barbed wire. But the searches, they find him. They call the father. The father then picks up his stiff, lifeless body, and Keith is alive.
What?
He's alive. Keith Parks is now 65 years old, and he's alive and healthy now. By the way, he remembers nothing.
No shit. Oh, God damn it. I thought you were going to say he remembers everything.
Nothing. He said one moment he was at the barn. Next thing you know, he's being picked up by his father.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like the chick. If the first story you told.
Yeah. Yeah. Where she was just kept walking and walking. But for her, she knew she was walking.
But she didn't know for
how long. But she didn't know she was walking for 2 days. Yeah, exactly. This little boy went from the barn, being picked up in the snow. He doesn't remember anything.
I'm not trying to make a joke or anything. It's just kind of funny in my head. But would he have just kept walking if he didn't
If he didn't pass out in the snow?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
I'm wondering, did he just trip and fall, give up, and snow, or like did he pass out, or did he like
I don't know.
what stopped him?
I mean, I would love to ask him, but he don't remember.
That's so crazy.
So I have another audio clip for you.
Oh my god, I can't believe he's still alive.
Yeah, no, he's still alive, and I was like, whoa. So here's another audio clip. This is actually from a search and rescue officer.
Okay.
Who has a story she would like to tell.
Okay.
So here we go.
I think one of the most impressive was a search in South Dakota. It was for a little toddler that had wandered away, and this was, I forget, it was January, February. It was cold weather, and we could not get any clues on the little toddler at all. It had been like 3 days, so we knew it was probably not going to be a good resolve. Anyway, we were, to make a long story short, coming through some willows, and it was all foggy, and the dogs were alerting, but we could not come to any, conclusion. And all of a sudden, my dog turned around and just let out a real startled howl, just it was scared. And we turned around, and here was this little toddler walking out of the fog with just absolutely no clothes on at all. And it scared all of it. I mean, the other handler and I both went, whoa, just startled us too. And just like the little thing appeared out of nowhere, out of the mist. We suspect, because of just the way, dirty and everything, that probably she had been with an animal, had curled up with a coyote, or we don't know for sure. And we'll never know.
Yeah. So there was a missing child. It went missing for a while, and they suddenly come across it when the dog freaks out, like miles away from where that child was missing, and then out of that fog, this little naked toddler walks out and up and towards them, and they had found the child without any clue of how that child got so far away and where the clothes had went and why it just mysteriously came out of this fog.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, national parks are terrifying. So I have some key points before we wrap this up. And these are just some national park facts that are very upsetting.
Oh, God.
So national parks do not keep a list of missing people in their parks. Yeah, they don't keep a list of missing people in their parks. Mm-hmm. Well, Ken Salazar, who is the Secretary of the Interior, who is basically like the head honcho for national parks. Mm-hmm. He was the Secretary of Interior from 2009 to 2013, and he doesn't know of such a list to ever exist. He helps look over the national parks throughout the U.S., and when asked about why or where this list of missing people in the national parks is, he goes around the question, and with an excuse of being he's too busy to look into all this information, and he has 25,000 employees that can look into it for him, and if it was of a national crisis, then it would be brought to his attention.
No.
It's bullshit.
Yes, complete.
Yeah. It's a crock of shit, and I when I listened to him do that, I was very pissed.
I can't even. That's just like saying, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. People.
Yeah, there's just no accountability.
Yeah.
There's no accountability for these missing people. And our government just doesn't seem like they want to try to at least help and find them. A woman named Heidi Streetman and created a centralized national database in which all missing persons are accounted for in national parks, forests, and BLM lands. So she made this because the national parks aren't doing it. She's like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find all these missing people, records of it, and make like a giant database for all these missing people because they won't freaking do it. The federal government, by the way, Dolores, is not required to keep records of anyone going missing on federal land.
What?
That is so sketch. The federal government is not required to keep records of anyone going missing on federal lands. So if you're at a national park, Dolores, and you go missing, they have no obligation to keep your missing person's case on file or record it or put it down.
That is so sketchy.
Yeah. So the national parks won't release the missing persons count per park for fear of less travel to these parks. But many believe that if they do this, that people who are willing to go will be better prepared and be safer when visiting.
Yeah.
As this could help lessen the missing persons cases in national parks.
Yeah, you would think that they would want to release that information for those reasons. Like, hey, don't go trailing off because
Dolores,
this can happen to you.
But you know what's funny? I never knew any of national park creepiness until this year because someone had brought it to my attention. I would have never known, and they probably want it that way. Because I don't see any
like
kind of media attention.
based.
Oh yeah, I don't see any kind of media attention on this subject at all.
I've heard of well, not even so much that. Okay, for example, going to Grand Canyon. There's signs everywhere. Do not go off path. Do not go onto edge. Those signs are there for a reason, you know.
Reason. Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that, obviously things have happened. So it's not going to be brought up in that light because of the image of it for tourism and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, the National Park Service will not comment on anything regarding missing people or strange occurrences surrounding their parks. No comment. They will just deny any kind of reaction that you would like to get from them. The documentary I watched called Missing 411, they asked if the National Park Service would give them a list of all the missing people from their National Park Service. They then told them that no such list exists and to deliver one would cost $1.4 million.
Wow.
Fucking assholes. So, as of 2018, there are currently known about 1,600 cases of adults and children missing in national parks, and it's probably way double that because of the lack of keeping this on file.
Yeah.
Many of these families want answers, but are given more questions to the disappearances of their loved ones, considering they just poof and disappear. National park authorities will not release or comment on any of these cases when it comes to the evidence or strange phenomenon happening in their parks. Many families have to look beyond their national explanation for these events to happen and look more supernaturally or look into a different way of how their family have disappeared or have experienced these weird happenings. And it looks like campers will never get an answer for these scary and true phenomena in our national parks in the United States, nor will the national parks release any kind of statement on anything. I'm not condemning the National Park Service in any way or demeaning the hard work done by the search and rescue people, but many of us just want answers, and it seems like we're just never going to get any. It's hard to grasp the mysteriousness of people just vanishing and the fact that the National Park Service won't comment. It leaves us more puzzled in an already puzzling situation.
Yeah, because it absolutely doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. So campers, here's some words of wisdom. Campers, please hike together. Stay alert. Don't wander off the path on your own. Always hike prepared with first aid, water, and food. Don't go up to anyone that may look dangerous in the forest. And most of all, don't go up, don't look, or touch the stairs.
Oof.
And that is the ending of part 2 of the national parks and the mysterious disappearances and beings and creatures and stairs that live in them.
Man, did you just decide to put me into this because I put you into a funk in the last one? Now I'm in a funk. Oh my God.
Yeah, I told you it's a lot. Like, it's really scary. Like, this shit, my mom and my brother and I and my sister, even my grandparents have been talking about how bizarre it is for these kids literally out of line sight, Dolores. This one kid, I didn't put it in here, but this one kid, his dad was chasing him over a hill. And as a kid went over the hill and the dad was just coming over, he broke line of sight for a second. And when the father came over the hill to see his son, the son was gone. Poof! Disappeared. Still haven't found his body, nothing. Dogs are like, they can't pick up a scent. They can't find anything on this boy. And this happens so often and no one's talking about it. Like, it's just swept under the rug. There's nothing they can do. They just disappear.
I feel like we just exposed
I know. Well, man, I'm hoping this creates a discussion with our campers and people listening and being like, whoa, like what's going on? You guys can do your more research into it. There is a lot out there, but the best source that I found was this documentary because it's actual people with names and dates.
Yeah.
And like it's on file. Like it's terrifying. That this is happening.
It's so.
It makes you never want to go camping. It makes you never want to go to a national park
Like,
again.
I'm not taking a little Timmy Tommy no one with me. No, nothing.
Yeah, no.
Oh my
And
god.
like again, these parents just lost sight of their kids for that brief moment, and boom, gone.
Okay, so like you can't get mad at me if I need to go take a shit in the woods. Like you're coming with me.
Exactly.
I am the child.
Same, yeah, yeah. Cameras, no, like no, seriously, yeah. This shit's terrifying.
You're gonna watch me do it, and you're not gonna look away. You're gonna make sure I am safe during my peaceful poop time.
Exactly. Well, the guy that wrote this book, when he Missing 411, he's a really big skeptic, and like our friend Amba, who's a really big skeptic, he just provides the facts that these people have went missing. He doesn't say anything about the paranormal, anything supernatural. He just said it's very peculiar and strange that these people literally just vanish and there's no trace of them. And even with all this forensic science, even today, and knowing that we have the technology to find these people, they still can't. Or they find them years later, or they find them a couple days later, not knowing even how the hell they got there.
And then fucking A is over there, and then B is over there. Like
yeah, no, literally.
Like the last one.
Yeah, my brother was like, maybe there's a portal, maybe it's aliens, maybe it's a Bigfoot.
Low key,
maybe
I thought aliens for a minute.
Yeah, no, me too. But I mean, like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
You can think of a million theories. That's why I find this so fascinating. But to get you off the funk of the scary, mysterious stories, I have some jokes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh shit! It did the same thing to me, like it did to you.
Well, I was an idiot and had it on a different browser.
Oh my god, where to go? I'm looking at my history. History. That's not even in my history. Oh, there it is. What did the beaver say to the tree?
What?
It's been nice gnawing you.
Oh my god. That was kind of cute.
What is a tree's favorite drink?
Ooh. I don't know.
Root beer.
I thought you were going to say something like
Oh God,
with
that's
sap.
so stupid. How do you communicate with a fish?
How?
You drop it a line.
Oh my god.
So stupid. Ooh. Ooh, yikes. Why is it never relaxing when two couples go camping?
Why?
Two tents.
I can't.
Two tents.
I can't. Oh my god.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my god.
So I really hope you campers love this part 2. A lot of you guys are probably going to be really excited and also very terrified to listen to it.
Yeah.
And I hope it really scared you. I think that was like my main goal for this, is to make you very unsettled.
Fuck, I know I am. Shit,
Yeah.
I gotta go to bed right now. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do that.
you'll be thinking about this. It's now 2:19 in the morning my time, and I have to try to sleep after this.
Oh god. God.
Woo! But if you guys would like to follow us on Instagram, you can guys follow us at campinsomnia_podcast. And if you want to find everywhere else we're at, we have a Linktree that's in the description of this podcast. Yeah, good luck trying to fall asleep tonight, campers.
Yeah. Best luck to you.
Dolores is so over it. Dolores like, I want to go to bed.
It's just
It's so scary.
this one really got me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really
Yeah.
did.
Mhm.
Like I said, even before when I went to go see you and we did it around the campfire, actually around the campfire really late like this, it was scary. I got the same
Yeah.
feeling right now.
Yeah, no, I remember that night too. We were really scared.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, also we were drunk, but we were really scared.
I was ready to deck you in the fucking throat too, because you kept
Oh yeah,
scaring
didn't
me.
I? Yeah, I kept when I did the mountain lion story, and I would scream,
Oh.
and Dolores would about shit herself.
I nearly shit myself, and then I nearly was gonna make him shit himself from punching him so hard in the goddamn face.
Well, thank you, campers, for listening, and we will see you next time.
Yes, next time. Good luck.
Bye, you guys. Good luck. Good luck trying to sleep. Don't go to the stairs, and please watch your siblings and children.
Oh my god.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.